Hey y'all, so this is the final part of our brunch series, and when I started the brunch series, I knew that I wanted to at least do one spread that was meatless. Even for individuals who are not necessarily vegetarian or vegan, there's been this trend of at least trying to substitute meat or reduce meat intake for people who are trying to live, healthier lifestyles, maybe cut down on the amount of fat and other things that are, traditionally found in meat that can impact our health. So with that in mind, I wanted to have something for those people as well. So today I'm making a roasted veggie frittata and banana oatmeal pancakes. So I hope you enjoy it, and let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing I want to do is, and I've done this already, is preset my oven to 375. So while it's getting to the correct temperature, we're gonna go ahead and start prepping our veggies. And I just use, whenever you're making a frittata, I like to use whatever vegetables that I have like left over in the fridge. And some things that I've made in the past week have been broccolini. I've also made stuffed eggplant, so I kept the filling from the inside of the eggplant. And I also have some grape tomatoes, some onions, some fresh garlic, some regular farm fresh large eggs, and I'm going to use sharp cheddar today because I just like sharp cheddar when I'm having omelets or frittatas or quiches. So we'll go ahead and start that, and then we'll finish it up with our banana oatmeal pancakes. So stay tuned. So we want to go ahead and cut our skillet here in the back on, I'm going to put it on medium, so I'm going to put it on 5. We want our vegetables to warm up, but really everything is going to finish cooking through in the oven, and really you're just going to be waiting for the eggs to set because these are leftover vegetables, so literally we are heating them up before adding our egg, before pouring our egg over, our beaten eggs. I think I've said this in probably every video. The garlic and the onion are a staple in my diet, so there's never a time where I just don't have a bunch of Vidalia onions in my house. So I'm always going to use them in my cooking. And I know some people don't do onions because of the breath thing, but they're a little bit too delicious for me to just omit because I might have to floss and brush my teeth an extra time. You should do that multiple times a day anyway, so that's not going to discourage me from getting rid of onions in my diet. So this is the leftover broccolini. This would also be good if you had fresh spinach or even frozen spinach. I definitely, if I'm cooking omelets, I will use frozen veggies. This eggplant is already cut up in a bowl. I kept that from when I stuffed some eggplants with ground turkey. And I love tomatoes. So we're going to add some tomatoes to this mix. And I actually like to add the tomatoes closer to the end because I don't want them to get soggy. I kind of just want them to burst. As everything is getting settled together. So I'm going to go ahead and have them. I'm saying half as in cut them in half. Not half like I'm about to start chewing at this moment. Whoop. That's lost one. And as soon as we get a good sizzle, then I'm going to add some garlic to the saute pan in the back and add in the eggplant, the onion, and the broccolini and let it heat up. But in the meantime, we can get to beating our eggs and seasoning them how we want to. Okay, let's get these eggs started. Be very careful. Nobody wants eggshells in the mouth. So I'm using 6 eggs. For people who have egg allergies, you can also do this with just egg, which is a great egg substitute. You can also definitely get a carton of egg whites, and it'd be just as delicious and even more nutritious because you're omitting the yolks. So I'm going to add some fresh ground black pepper to this. So our oven is ready, so that's perfect. I think our pan should be ready to add in the garlic. Yep, we got a sizzle going there. I'm going to add some salt to this egg and some salt to this eggplant because I didn't season this when I put it in the bowl. We can dump that in. Actually, all of these vegetables need some salt and pepper. If you're not a broccoli person, like I said, you can use spinach with this. You can use kale, any kind of leafy green. And you can also, if you want it to be a little bit heartier, just to add that salt in there and some pepper. You can add potatoes. I have made several egg dishes with sweet potato and onions and butternut squash and kale. I normally keep sweet potatoes just like I keep onions. I love them. They're so flexible in what you can do with them. Let's beat our 6 eggs. And then we're going to clean up for a second and talk about these pancakes. All right. So that's together. Remember, we're going to add these tomatoes towards the end of our frittata process. Now, I started this pan with just like a tablespoon of canola oil, but that was after I sprayed it with non-stick spray because we want the want the frittata to pop out easily at the end when we are ready to cut it and serve it. So make sure whatever pan you're using, if you're not going to transition it into like a casserole dish, that it's an oven safe pan, because you don't want any fires or anything dangerous like that happening while you're cooking. So this is only going to go about 2 to 3 more minutes. Then we're going to add in our egg and let it cook for about 2 minutes. Then I'm going to add the tomatoes on top with the cheese, and we're going to put it in the oven to finish off, and we'll get started on our pancakes. All right, our veggies are smelling really good back there. So now we can add in our beaten egg. So that's going to calm down the temperature just a bit of the pan, because we're adding in something new. Now, before I add in the tomato, I like to kind of let it cook for about 1 or 2 minutes, because I don't want, again, I want the tomatoes to kind of burst as they're cooking in the oven. I don't want them to be mushy and lose their consistency and texture. So shortly we will add in these tomatoes and then hit it with the cheddar cheese and set it in the oven, and you're gonna bake it until it sets. And I give people estimates, maybe 15-20 minutes, but it really depends on your oven. So mine cooks kind of fast. It's on 375. So I'm gonna set my timer to 15 minutes, but then peep in on it to make sure that it's set. So now I'm going to go ahead and add in these pretty grape tomatoes. This is also the point in the story, if you have some fresh herbs, if you want to include those. Parsley would be great on this. If you were doing a more Asian or Southwestern theme, some cilantro would be good on this too. Fresh herbs are always a good idea. And then last but not least, we're going to do this cheese. And this is just regular sharp cheddar cheese. If you don't do cheese, you can replicate this whole thing with just egg and get you some vegan cheese, and it still be thebomb.com. All right, so now that I have all my toppings there, I'm going to cut this off and then move this to the oven to finish off. Let's set this timer to 15 minutes. It may take longer, it may take less. Again, you know your oven better than I do, so just you know, monitor it. That's what oven lights are for. And now I'm going to clean up just a second, and we are going to get started on the pancakes because they're going to be awesome. Banana is one of my favorite flavors and ingredients to use. So I'm really excited about these. All right, folks, I'm using a flat iron skillet in the back for cooking my pancakes. If you have a griddle, even more awesome, but a griddle would take up too much space in my already very small kitchen. So I put some non-stick spray on this pan, but I'm also going to add some unsalted butter. These pancakes are very easy, and they're great for people who do not want to use flour, like if you have a gluten intolerance, which I have a sensitivity. When I eat it, like, I know that there are going to be consequences and repercussions, but sometimes I do. Anyway, but for the most part, you don't have to use flour to have good pancakes. I'm using rolled oats. These are just the regular old-fashioned rolled oats. I have about 3/4 of a cup that we're actually going to blend this pancake batter. I'm going to dump this in my little Ninja container. Then I'm using 1 egg. I'm using 1 egg. Add that right on top. Then I have about a little over 1/4 of a cup of almond milk. This is unsweetened. I'm gonna add a teaspoon of baking powder. A pinch a little bit of kosher salt, a splash of vanilla, and then last but not least to the party, our banana. I'm only going to use half of this because I want to put the other half on top for garnish. After you get this cut up, we're gonna blend it, and that's that. Very simple. Is the oatmeal wants to stay at the top, so you have to kind of wait for it to collapse and fall at the bottom, but you want to just blend it until smooth. You can also add like cinnamon or other spices or seasonings to this that are your favorites, especially like in the fall. Right when the fall comes, people get cinnamon, allspice, pumpkin crazy. So that would be a good variation to try for your pancakes. So I think our frittata is about ready to come out. Our skillet in the back is not quite ready to add our pancakes in, so I'm gonna move some of this stuff out of the way and get ready to get our frittata out of the oven, because it's the star of the show today. Well, I don't know, maybe they're co-stars. So I'm going to use my little 1/4 of a cup measuring spoon for my pancakes to help me measure. I don't like my pancakes huge. So that's gonna cook about 2 to 3 minutes on each side. While we're waiting for that to bubble up to indicate that it is ready for me to flip, let's get this frittata out. Look at that. Doesn't that look good? So we got all those vegetables in there. I would finish this off with maybe some fresh parsley, even chives if you have them. But it's good to go. So while we're waiting for our pancakes to get done, we can cut the oven off and let this sit and rest. And we do need a spatula for pancake flipping purposes. All right, I think it's about time to flip our pancake. Like most things, you can save this pancake batter for later in the refrigerator. I am gonna make 2 for myself if you're extra hungry. This makes about 5 of these. I guess it's about 4 inches, about 4-inch pancakes. But you can just double the recipe and make servings for 10. You can do smaller silver dollar pancakes if you are looking for something to entertain your little people. Kids love decorating waffles and pancakes with different berries and whipped cream and all that stuff to make it fun for them. But I like this the best because with the blender, it's very easy and less mess involved than stirring in a bowl. So I'm an advocate of these pancakes for that reason alone. So this is done. I like to make sure my butter and stuff is not lingering on one side of the pan. Now that one's done, we can go ahead and drop another. I'm not actually going to be using maple syrup. I'm just going to drizzle my pancakes with some honey and put some of these sliced bananas on top when I'm done. But you'll see what that looks like. But in the meantime, I'm going to finish cooking my second pancake, and then we will plate and taste it. Okay, our pancakes are done, and I have cut up banana. And I like to layer my joint like it's I don't know, like it's a sandwich. And I'm just using honey as my, just a little. And we put that vanilla in there because this is already gonna taste almost like a dessert. You can also just garnish this if you wanted to with whipped cream. And last, but certainly not least, let's get a piece of this frittata. With all of our vegetables in there. Doesn't that look delicious? We're gonna try it in just a second.